So I want to start by us singing a very simple song. Words are very easy. It's over my head, I hear music in the air. Over my head, I hear music in the air. Over my head, I hear music in the air. There must be a God somewhere. Now, I know some of you are going to want to sing, there might be a God somewhere. And some of you are going to want to sing, there are only natural phenomena for which there are perfectly rational and scientific explanations somewhere. The words are, there must be a song somewhere. There must be a God somewhere. It's a song, people. And when we sing, there's a pause, we're going to clap. And to really get into it, over my head, we're all going to do this. Yes, we are. We got to stand. So I hope none of you just burst out into hives or... I want to tell you about a conversation I had with a woman a few years ago while I was still in England. She was an active member of her local parish church, the Church of England, and she was quizzing me about Unitarianism. In the UK it is only Unitarianism. Universalism never took root there. Anyway, she was asking me who we are, where do we come from, what are we all about, the usual stuff. You know, sometimes I am tempted to tell people I'm a Methodist or a Catholic, just something that they've already heard about and therefore immediately have no interest in. But no, you're a Unitarian. What's that? And so you have to try to explain to people, most of them kindly, well-meaning folk, that what is important to us, what binds us together, is not what we believe in common, but what we love in common. So there I was, trying to my best to explain all of this to this good, intelligent, faithful person, when she asked the inevitable big question. But you do believe in God, don't you? You know, I've been a Unitarian all my years, a minister for the past 407 of them. I have letters after my name showing that I've studied theology, so I'm not entirely ignorant on the subject. Yet, still, I'm never sure how to answer that question. Frankly, I'm not even sure what the question means. Do I believe in God? Do I believe in God? The question is asked as if the answer is going to be yes or no. And as if my answer will put me into one camp or the other. As if my answer is yes, then that's okay, I'm allowed to be a minister. And if my answer is no, I'm somehow an imposter. But I don't know what the question means. I really don't. And especially, I don't know what it means when I'm asked by the sort of person who has not darkened a church's door for ages, but who, for reasons best known to themselves, somehow want to justify themselves, often with the statement of, you know, I believe in God, obviously, but I don't need to go to church. I worship God in my own way. Oh, and which way might that be? I wonder. In bed with the Sunday papers? Watching the game? At the mall or some other cathedral of consumerism? Here on the beach? Oh, really? How interesting, I reply if I'm feeling mischievous. You believe in God but don't go to church? I go to church but don't believe in God. So let's try to unpack it just a bit. Do I believe in God? Does the question mean, do I believe that there is a being which exists in some separate time-space reality, and that being is God? Like Zeus on Mount Olympus. And from that separate time-space reality, this God observes the world, responds to it, makes things happen, and once decided that things had got so bad that he sent his son. Where that son came from is a puzzle we'll leave to one side. Sent that son to come down to earth sacrificially to sort things out on our behalf. Do I believe that such a being exists? No, I don't. I understand that that is the God that some people do believe exists, but I don't. I understand also, I think, why and how such a belief came into being in a pre-scientific age. It made sense in a pre-scientific age when God or gods were in charge of everything and made sense of everything otherwise beyond our human comprehension. The God of modern thought apparently does not live on Mount Olympus, as did Zeus, but in the sky somewhere. Yet no amount of air travel or space exploration has yet been able just to pinpoint exactly where that place is. 30 plus years ago, when I was in my first ministry, I set myself a project for Lent. I set myself the task of reading the book Does God Exist? By the Dutch theologian Hans Kung. Kung, himself a Catholic, wrote this 600-page doorstopper of a book. It was very dense but readable. Kung, himself a Catholic, but barely clinging on by his fingernails to the Catholic Church without being kicked out for his heretical views, examines the history of God, all of the arguments for God's existence, the ontological, the teleological, the cosmological, and other fancy-sounding multi-syllabic words. And he finally comes to the conclusion that it makes absolutely no sense to talk about God existing. Why? Because the term existence can be used only with reference to something that is real, something in time and space. Love does not exist, says Kung. Beauty does not exist. Truth does not exist. Goodness does not exist. They are abstract concepts which we experience in life, but they do not exist beyond our experience. The reality is our experience, not that which is being experienced. And so, says Kung, neither does God exist unless you warp the meaning of the term exist to such an extent that it ceases to be meaningful. You know, I read that book. I really did make it through all of those 600 pages in Lent. And I really admired Kung greatly. Nothing makes me admire somebody else's intelligence quite as much as when they agree with me. So do I believe that there is a being called God, that God exists? No, I don't. I'm not even agnostic about it. Don't even want to place an each way bet on it. I'm willing to say with absolute categorical assurance, there is no God. There is no God. There, I've said it. I don't care who knows it. But I am not an atheist. I refuse to be called an atheist. I don't like the term atheist. Because you see, when asked, do I believe in God, the short answer is no. See above. But the longer and more interesting and much more important answer is yes. Because believing in God is not a rational thing. It's not about believing that something is the case, an intellectual proposition which is verifiably true. Do I believe that the sun will rise in the east tomorrow morning? Well, yes, I do. And if you and I get up early enough in the morning, we can see whether or not that belief has been verified. There are other beliefs which are not verifiable in the same way, but are matters of personal judgment and prejudice. Do I believe that cannabis should be decriminalised? Well, I have an opinion about that. You probably do too. Perhaps your opinion is different from mine. But who is right? Who can say? There are arguments for both camps. But God is not like that. God is not an either-or. We can never know for sure whether or not God exists, and in any case, who cares if such a separate God exists? I don't. But do I believe in God? Yes, I do, with all my being. I want to conduct a quick straw poll. Hands up, those of you who believe in Santa Claus. Come on, don't be shy.
It's good for you.
All right. Well, here's the thing. I do. Do I believe that there is a jolly fat man in a red suit sporting a fluffy white beard who every Christmas Eve kisses Mrs. Claus goodbye at their cosy home at the North Pole, boards his sleigh behind 8 reindeer, whizzes around the world, goes down every chimney, snacking on cookies and milk in every household, leaving not only presents under the tree for those children who have been good during the year, but also appreciative little notes for the hospitality? Well, actually, no, I don't believe that such a being exists. I do remember the Christmas when I learned the awful truth, but I was 43 years old at the time. But do I believe in Santa Claus? You bet your boots I do. Am I away with the fairies? Do I deserve the dripping contempt of the likes of Richard Dawkins and the other militant atheists for my infantile naivete? Perhaps. But perhaps you know this letter written by a mother to her questioning daughter. No, it's not Dear Virginia. This is Dear Lucy. Dear Lucy, thank you for your letter. You asked a very good question. Are you Santa? I know you've wanted the answer to this question for a long time, and I've had to give it careful thought to know just what to say. The answer is no. I'm not Santa. There is no one Santa. I am the person who fills your stockings with presents, though. I also choose and wrap the presents under the tree the same way my mum did for me and the same way her mum did for her. And yes, Dad helps too. I imagine you will someday do this for your children. And I know you will love seeing them run down the Christmas magic stairs on Christmas morning. You will love seeing them sit under the tree, their small faces lit with Christmas lights. This won't make you Santa, though. Santa is bigger than any person, and his work has gone on longer than any of us have lived. What he does is simple, but very powerful. He teaches children to have belief in something they can't see or touch. It's a big job. It's an important job. Throughout your life, you will need this capacity to believe in yourself, in your friends, in your talents, in your family. You'll also need to believe in things you can't measure or even hold in your hand. And here I'm talking about love, that great power that will light your life from the inside out, even during the darkest, coldest moments. Santa is a teacher, and I have been his student, and now you know the secret of how he gets down all those chimneys on Christmas Eve. He has help from all the people whose hearts he is filled with joy. With full hearts, people like Daddy and me take turns helping Santa do a job which otherwise would be impossible. So no, I'm not Santa. Santa is love and magic and hope and happiness. I'm on his team. And now you are too. I'm 64 years old and I believe in Santa. That Santa. I want to be on his team. Some people say you shouldn't encourage children to believe in Santa. It's a lie, these people say. And when they find out that you've been lying to them, they will never trust you again. Well, you know what? The best things I know and experience in life are not facts. They're not real. They're not hard truths. The best things I know and experience in this life can't be pinned down and analysed, put under a microscope, given neat definitions. The best things in life are beyond being proven like a mathematical formula. The best things I know and experience in life are about wonder and awe and reverence and mystery and love. And I want to be in a world infused with wonder and miracle and mystery and reverence and love. I want to be in a world in which story and legend are how we convey one generation to the next. What is most important? Was I lying to my children when I helped them put the cookies and milk on the mantelpiece? Was I lying to them as I wrote them a note of thanks in a disguised hand, scattered the half-eaten carrots on the snow by the front door? Or was I teaching them that a sense of awe is a most precious gift, which we adults lose to our peril? I believe in God. I believe in all that that simple three-letter word, however inadequately, evokes and connotes. I believe in that which transcends the littleness of my fleeting life. I believe in the connection I experience with all that is, that the word God is a poetic but ever inadequate way, shorthand way of expressing. I believe in God not as a separate being out there, but because I want the divine, the mysterious, the wonderful to be an intrinsic part of what it means for me and for you to be human. Dag Hammarskjöld wrote, God does not die when we cease to believe. We die when our lives cease to be illumined by wonder. So I want to be on God's team. Why? Because that makes my life worth the living. Because though I am mortal, it makes me part of that which is eternal. Because though I am finite, it connects me to the infinite. Because though I see a world broken and bruised, it reassures me with the constant vision of what might yet be. Because though I am tempted and seduced by all of life's distractions, because it is so easy for me to fall short of my own best aspirations, it aligns me in a true direction as a magnet does with iron filings. Do I believe that God exists? No, I don't. Do you? Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. But do I believe in God and all that God means in this marvelous, magical, mysterious world? Oh yes, I most certainly do. I hope you do too. Amen.